Oh, when you really
want to go on that run.
I dig.
You want to go on that run.
But then again, I'm a creature of habit. I like consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to then start 8-10 weeks and all of a sudden, bam, I got to stop my routine. Because we know how. I think we had a terrible record on the succeeding week after we were on a bye. You know what I mean? It's like we didn't shake off all the. You know what I'm talking about? I don't really think that we came out and played like we had been playing.
Watch it. Did we come out and play well, or did we come up with the W? That's two different things.
That's what I'm saying.
We came out with W's. I think we did. You must be thinking about when I wasn't on the team. Because you were there another 4 more years.
You were there for enough of the winning before we booted
I don't recall
you
us
out of
ever
here.
losing after a bye week. Yeah, my memory is short. I have no idea. We won all them games.
Maybe it's your green jersey that you were wearing back then.
No, it was the red ones that I always thought we were going to wear.
What? Oh, the one that
Christmas.
Yeah, the Christmas. Why didn't they bust that out, man? That'd have been cool.
I really believed that they were going to change at halftime.
Shut up.
I thought we were going to do it before the game, and then I was like, well, maybe, just leaving out hope, we'll do it at halftime. That'd be pretty sweet. It never happened.
It never did.
They sold all those red jerseys, too, man.
Hey,
that was great marketing.
Real quick before we go up against it, the Texans throwbacks. How about these throwbacks that we're starting to see, the rollbacks? You got to look at the Giants jersey, and you're just like me.
Oh, I thought I was going to throw
Texans kind of looks kind of weird,
this
too.
Is not, that looked like in the 50s or something. I don't know.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be, a recognition of the history of said franchise. So they have these throwbacks. And I'm not sure what, the current color schemes, how they matched up to ones back in the day, but man, we were thinking some completely different stuff. And I didn't realize how consistent the Michigan Wolverine helmet thing was, because I think there was a few teams that had that same kind of design on their helmets.
Really?
They're just watching the game, man.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm watching. I'm waiting for you to run onto the field. I'm waiting for you. There you are right there. I saw your big old badunka.
Yeah, my butt looked like a sack of pool balls.
Oh, man. You was running. You was running on your toes, too.
Yeah.
That means he's light on his feet. That dancing bear.
Don't say the dancing bear thing.
Dancing
Good night.
I love the dancing bear. That's what you want to tackle.
Hey, we'll see if Buck Reising likes the dancing bear.
Yeah, he may.
He's going to join us next. And just reminding you about the next hour where we're going to be catching up with David Haugh to continue our Chicago Bears versus Tennessee Titans Week 1 conversation. And after that, the phone lines are yours, 737-1045. He's Blaine Bishop. I'm Brad Hopkins. We are brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Stick around. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, this is Blaine Bishop, and I'm excited to tell you about Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, or as you may know them as TOA. And TOA has 29 locations and over 100 orthopedic physicians throughout Middle and East Tennessee to take care of all your musculoskeletal needs. In addition to their orthopedic clinics and urgent care facilities, TOA offers physical therapy, hand therapy, and sports performance training for teams and individuals at their sports performance centers. And as a former professional athlete, I know how important access to expert orthopedic care is. So whether you're an athlete, active adult, or just looking to get back to living your best life, you can visit TOA online at TOA.com. That's TOA.com. Or you can call them at 1-855-NEED-TOA. That's 1-855-NEED-TOA. I don't know.
The NFL schedule was last night. We know who the Titans are playing. Actually, I also previewed the fact that there's going to be a series that them balls are going to get into against the Gamecocks. That might be pretty intriguing, especially to our next guest, even though we know that he covers the Titans extensively in the NFL, of course. He's so talented that I know that he knows something about what Tony V and company are up against. You know what I'm saying? But maybe we'll dabble into that. But
a little baseball?
Yeah, a little bit.
I can manage.
Because I know your range. You're a rangy guy. That's Blaine Bishop. I'm Brad Hopkins. We are now joined by Buck Reising here. And, of course, we're always brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. And what'd you think of the schedule last night? What was the first thing that stood out to you about the Titans' full 17-week schedule?
Me personally?
Yes, you personally.
I don't think I'm going to be cold that often this year. That makes me very happy. A lot of
looking at it like a player, Blaine.
100%. I'm looking at this thing: weather first, primetime game second, and logistics, ease of travel, and the idea that they're going to play. In all seriousness, for the comfort of sleeping in your own bed and. Not just for, selfish media people like myself, but for players and for coaches to have 10 games in the Central Time Zone and 6 games in the Eastern Time Zone and only one jaunt out to L.A. I think that's like week 9 or week 10. I'll pull the schedule up here in front of me. Mm-hmm. But 10, yes, 10. To have the Chargers at that point and that really be the only heavy lift that you've got as far as the logistics go, it's a pretty favorable schedule, and it should be. It's a fourth-place schedule. This team finished last year. The degree of difficulty that teams like the Texans are going to be up against that was different for them. Their ease, I don't want to say ease because they had to go out there and earn it, but it did make their path to going out and flipping from fourth place in the division to first place in the division that much easier. Fair to expect that the Titans should be doing the exact same thing, especially with that stretch of the 5 divisional games in the last 7 weeks. That's pretty tough.
I was actually surprised that the betting factions have us as a favorite in that game. So maybe we are getting more national recognition or at least respect, from what the potential is. Maybe they're looking at the receiving core, how aggressively the front office went and sought out talent, and, of course, draft picks that seemingly made sense from being able to control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, 4.5 point favor.
Yeah, 4.5 points.
In which game?
The first one? Bears. Out of the box.
Against, they should be, right? You're going up against a rookie quarterback, even if he's at home. I feel like that's fair, especially if 3 points is good for home field advantage. They should be favored by about a touchdown. That makes about as much sense to me as anything. And Denard Wilson getting a tee off on a rookie quarterback with that new defense and a lot of moving parts and pieces there. You hope that they have a lot of that ironed out through training camp and preseason, of course. But yeah, to have the Titans opening as a 4-point road favorite is
4.5.
4.5 point road favorite is probably a pretty foreign experience for a lot of Titans fans who have seen the level of play that this team has brought to the table the last couple of years. To go up against a Bears team that's solid. The Bears are a good football team. We'll see how much better the quarterback there can make them because it's not like Chicago hasn't upgraded around Caleb Williams plenty. I mean, you talk about the skill talent that's here in Tennessee. They've done well to draft Roma Dunes. They've done well to trade for Keenan Allen and, of course, the DJ Moore trade the year prior. I'm hoping for a little bit of a shootout, if I'm being honest with you. That's not Bears Titans of old.
Yes, your ears do not deceive you. That is Buck Reising from the Buck Reising Show. You can hear him,
not done with me yet.
Anytime from 10 to 1 here on 104.5 The Zone.
Well, actually, I was a little bit surprised that the Titans were favored by that much because you're usually given 3 points at home. So really, that's a 7-point, as you mentioned. So I was a little shocked. I think it's a little closer than that. The Bears ended hot. Everything relies on playing their quarterback, their young quarterback, which I like that, playing them in the first game. But when you look at the entire schedule, I think the Titans have actually a very, very tough schedule. And reason why I say that is I'm looking at it from my perspective. When I was a defensive back in the league, I'm looking at quarterbacks. All quarterbacks here, and I'm going, okay, Williams, he's the truth. Let's see what he is. Aaron Rodgers, Love, Tua, Richardson, don't know what he is. Allen, Goff, Now we get a break there with New England, and we all know what the Chargers have at quarterback at Herbert. So, you keep going down the list. And you got the Texans twice, the Bengals, the Colts again, and then you get some breaks here with some young quarterbacks with the Vikings, Sam Darnold, whoever else, maybe J.J. McCarthy, and Washington. So I think early on, they're going to be tested until they get to New England. It's a pretty tough schedule, and that's always how I viewed it because I'm looking at it from a defensive perspective, and quarterback can carry you even if you're not playing your best. So as long as they're playing their best or up to capabilities of what they, are getting paid, I think that's always going to be a tough battle. So this first game, even though he's not proven, it's still, they have weapons.
Oh, yeah.
With Swift at running back, Kmet at tight end, and then 3 legit receivers. This is going to be interesting early on. So I was a little surprised. 4.5?
It'll move. It'll move. As we get closer, we're obviously, several months away. The line will move as we get closer, and that money will be more on Chicago. So you'll see that kind of shift that I'd expect, Blaine. But I still think that they should open up as the favorite in that game, even if 4.5 is way too big of a spread. And I completely acknowledge all the reasons why that would be the case. The thing that I'm just excited about is the idea of that many storylines, that many narratives for us to talk about. It's a really fun week 1 game, I feel like, especially for the kind of transition that these two teams, in particular, the debut of the new Titans offense. I'm as excited for football season for that reason alone, just because I'm not really sure what to expect from this team after 6 years of pretty much understanding what the game plan is going to be on a week-by-week basis.
Oh, no doubt about it. But here's also what I noticed. 14 games scheduled at noon kickoff, so that's routine. Me and B-Hop talked a little bit about routine, but it shows right here with the schedule. Then you have, you never have 2 games straight you have 2 games straight on the road where you're not getting all screwed up with your scheduling, so I like that as a player. But only one time do you have a rest disadvantage, and that's actually week 18, where you only getting 1 day short playing your opponent, and then no other one. So those all stand out besides the bye week being early.
Week 5 bye is trash.
Right. I don't like that. And usually it always works out some kind of way, but then now you got to go on a long run of regular season, and then if you're thinking playoffs, then now you don't get a little bit of rest somewhere around like week 10, and then you can kind of really go. When you're a really good team, you kind of want that rest, get the rust off coming back that next game, let's say week 11, and then you go on a home run and go on a run. So that was kind of a little disadvantage. I'm a little disappointed only 1 primetime game, potentially maybe 2 with the flex schedule.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that, but they're playing some really good teams. Oh, and by the way, let's not forget Kevin Byard in week 1.
Yeah.
Did you text him? And ask him, is he fired up?
I felt his tweet spoke enough with the eyeball emoji. I had a lot of tweets flying around. Yeah, he's excited. It's more exciting if you're the Titans. KB was not great last year.
I want to hear you say what you said on your show when you talked about Kevin Byard and how much you thought he had left in the tank.
He's a good player. Like, I think if he's surrounded with better talent.
Bless your heart. That's a bless your heart right there.
No, he gets a bless. Listen, he gets worse than a bless your heart.
You said that he was part of the problem that was in
He was a part of the problem. They were old and slow, and he's a part of that. Absolutely. And there's moments.
For the Titans?
For the Eagles. For the Eagles last year, that secondary, that defense was a big problem. You had the league's best, or the league's, I'm trying to think of the proper way to say this. They led the league in sacks the year prior, and then they couldn't rush the quarterback in 2023. The secondary fell off a cliff. They had some parts move around back there, and they were looking for safety help. KB is not a bad option, certainly. And like I said, I think he could still be a productive player on a team with more help around him. But they were working through all kinds of play calling issues last year, too, with the defensive coordinator in Philadelphia. I'm sure that didn't help the situation. But yeah, KB's past the peak of his powers. That's not any kind of breaking news.
Yeah, he's recording you right now, and he's probably going to be listening to you.
Good, make it more fun. I don't want to see you get lit up.
But didn't you say the same thing about Derrick Henry, too?
Well, yeah, but I advocated again. I have a bad track record on Derrick.
I just wonder what
I have a bad track record on Derrick.
So what I'm getting at is Kevin Byard, to me, when he got to Philly now, it's also a transition to learning the system now, and then 2 different play callers. But I thought they was misusing him for where he's at, to your point, in his career. He should just be a post player, not now I'm going to go cover the slot and be that nickel guy in certain situations. So I thought he was miscasted in the role that they should have used him maybe they thought they could based off what he was getting paid. But I think if he's just a post player and he gets to play ball and organize and quarterback the defense, I think you'll see him shine once again. I really believe
You
that.
think he's going to be resurgent in Chicago? Because they've got some fun defensive players.
That's your words called resurgent. I say he was miscast on his role.
Fair enough.
And I think he can do what I'm saying he can do, he could have done last year. They just didn't put him in that role very much. And that is to be the ball hawk that he is. That's what he came into the league as, and it kind of morphed into something else because he was really good. And then now when you're going, to your point, down the slope, now let's get him back to what he truly is naturally, and that's the ball hawk sideline to sideline guy.
No.
Let him do that.
The coaches don't get near enough blame for the way that players, for how often players get put in situations where you're asking them to do more than what doesn't necessarily maximize them is I guess what I'm trying to say. The idea that Kevin Byard has displayed the ability to play, one-on-one with a tight end and play and be a really, really strong player in man coverage and find ways to get interceptions in man coverage and stuff like that. In years past, to ask him to do too much rather than to play to the best possible strengths is a big part of the reason, not just Byard specific, but a big part of the reason there was a lot of disagreement on the defensive side of the ball in Philly last year.
Now let's get back to the Titans. What are your expectations for the Titans after looking at the schedule?
Push for the division. Absolutely. You should be competitive in this division.
Win-loss record, too, by the way.
I don't think 9-8 is unattainable, and I think that's where the bar should be. You're pushing for a wild card at the end of the year, if not the division outright. As I said, you've got those 5 divisional games in the last 7 weeks that starts at Houston. So, you're really fighting for it. And the schedule lays out for you to kind of work out some of the kinks in the first couple of weeks and the first couple of months and then really hit it, provided that you're healthy, down the stretch. It's going to be something that I think a lot of Titans fans are going to be keen on, is the idea that you go from Indianapolis on the 13th of October and not again with another divisional game until at Houston on the 24th of November. It's a pretty big gulf there, but I think 9-8 is completely reasonable for this team.
And by the way, we got it wrong.
We sure did.
The Titans are not favored.
No.
The Bears are favored by 4.5.
Yeah, we read that wrong.
Card. Yeah,
3 points.
That's why I thought it was close. All the hype that the Bears were getting.
So did we give credit where credit wasn't due?
Yeah, we did. So, Curtis, you got it wrong.
Corey.
Unless I misread his text.
Oh, Corey Curtis?
He said 4.5 yesterday.
Well, then why would he agree with? Why would he agree with what we thought the case
You're
would
right.
be?
He did. He thought minus 4.5 to the Titans.
No, I think the Titans should be favored. In that game, they absolutely should be favored.
But they're not.
Yeah.
They're
I think that the Titans are totally capable of being favored in that game.
And I like it that way because now I got your attention, players. I got your attention.
Any kind of bulletin board material, whatever it takes.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, it's pretty amazing that the Brian Callahan era begins on the road in Chicago. When you say that, does that resonate? Era. Will you think he'll be around long enough to create an era of Brian Callahan football? You know what I'm saying? Especially in this, talking about in this current environment where everyone embraces change because that somehow is going to produce a different result, seemingly, right? Versus the consistency of having a guy around. I think that there's some advantages to having familiarity, right? And people that have something to work. So I kind of tend to think that he's going to be around here. He can buy a house here and not worry about it.
Well, I appreciate you saying that with confidence, Brad, because I think the coaching shelf life is as short as it's ever been. 3 years is about what you get.
Dang, man.
No, I think that's fine. Brad, today you have so many resources at your disposal and so many ways to win within the margins that I'm not saying that the head coach is unimportant or anything like that. I'm not trying to outright diminish it, but it's so much more than just the head coach. And I think that the kind of continuity that you're looking to keep on the offensive side of the ball, you're 100% correct. It's tough to replace Matt LaFleur. It's tough to replace Arthur Smith, to have two guys who went on to be head coaches because of their abilities as not just offensive coordinators, but leaders of men. And that didn't work out in the case for Art, but obviously Green Bay's going really well for LaFleur at this point. And it seems like he's trending in the right direction with a young quarterback post Aaron Rodgers. It's hard to replace that as a defensive head coach. But I honestly think that Brian Callahan's going to have that problem on the defensive side of the ball because people are already talking about Denard Wilson like he's a name to watch before the season begins, the Titans defensive coordinator. Brian Callahan will get his opportunity, but honestly, if Will Levis doesn't go to playing this year, Levis is going to get some heat, and you need to make a decision whether you want to try and gut it out with him beyond this year or not, if you're not 100% sure. But Brian Callahan's going to be judged as much on Will Levis's success or failures as anything. So this year is critically important for both of those men.
I just wonder if there shouldn't be any more read into Mason Rudolph being a part of this offense.
Nah.
I mean, just a quality backup. But then again, Blaine was talking about yesterday how some prognosticators have us in the draft looking for a quarterback in the not-so-distant future, which to me sounds crazy.
Prove him wrong. Don't suck. I mean, that's the only...
I don't think he's ever done anything to give us the impression that he can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? That he can't with the right support system, meaning time to throw the ball, guys to throw it to. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, he belongs. He absolutely belongs in the league. There's no disputing that. The question is, given the parts around him, it's not just about making him better this year. He has to make them better. You have to see quantifiable evidence that you've got a quarterback that can help put you over the top. And you have to do it this year because he's on a short contract. He's on a second-round pick contract. You don't have that cost-controlled fifth-year option. So the timeline, it's good for him because he gets closer to the payday faster than the rest of them.
Right.
But for the Titans, it speeds up your clock infinitely. They have to 100% know on Will Levis by the end of the season.
Oh.
Yeah, he is Buck Reising. Yeah.
From the 104.5 The Zone, right before us. I want to ask you
opening
about
act.
Yeah, for Treylon Burks. After now signing Tyler Boyd, where do you see him fitting into this offense or even special teams? I hear people talking like he can run out and make tackles. I've said I haven't seen that before in my life. So I don't know what the heck they saw that I didn't, but haven't seen that. But where do you see him fitting in after the Tyler Boyd signing?
So I really liked the response by Callahan, Blaine, and I wonder what you guys make as former players of this, when he said, well, no, this isn't diminishing Treylon's role at all. Because it let everybody else know that, no, the role that you may have in your head for Treylon Burks or the snap count that you have in your head for what Treylon Burks should be doing or should be getting in 2024 is not how we as a coaching staff are viewing it. We know, or we think we have an idea of how we're going to deploy him, how we're going to use him, what his snap count's going to look like with the rest of the guys, and it's not as the slot player. So the way that he kind of... And listen, it's not good for Treylon that they're still out here signing wide receivers. You want a guy who can contribute, that you can lean on as a former first-round pick, and he theoretically should be a versatile dude if you watch the way that they got him the ball, especially in space in Arkansas. You can find a bunch of different ways to get this guy involved in the offense. But the slot snaps specifically are not what's cutting into Treylon's role. He's going to be a backup. We'll see whether he's a primary or a secondary to Ridley and Hopkins, and how he carves out that role additionally if they give him a package of plays, if they go in there with certain formations that Treylon Burks is going to be a part of, and he earns additional opportunities after that. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a slow burn, but I think they're going to find out, all right, how much can I trust you with the new coaching staff? And then we'll go from there. And anything, I mean, they've said that from the jump. He's going to earn any additional opportunities that we haven't already provided him.
So you believe what they're saying, or I want to hear.
I don't have any
words.
reason not to.
Okay,
I don't have any reason not to yet. I haven't. Okay, let me put it this way, Blaine. I haven't heard anything publicly or privately that projects Titans' new coaching staff down on Treylon Burks. Other than we like the depth at wide receiver. It's a better problem to have than not. Certainly, Titans fans know what it is to be thinner at the wide receiver position. But I don't necessarily get the vibe that like the coaching staff is looking at Treylon Burks kind of like they're projecting with Kyle Phillips, which is, no, we've already got some options here to move on from you. Treylon Burks is different than Kyle Phillips. Kyle Phillips is not just about Jaquan Jackson, but I think Tyler Boyd's more about that than anything.
Well, here's how I view it. I view it as your actions always speak louder than your words, and their actions tell you he's a backup. And until you get otherwise and prove us otherwise, you're going to stay there until you get on the field and make plays in actual games.
But Blaine, as a player, how important is it for a coaching staff to be straight up with you about that? To just tell me. Tell me where I stand with you, and then we can build that trust and move forward.
That's an interesting question because some coaches are not.
Correct.
I like my coach say, hey, you didn't get it done today, bro. If you don't pick it up, you're not going to be out there. We don't have coaches like that now. They baby and lie, and then next you know, oh, such.
You're talking generally, not specific.
No, just in general. Yeah,
I think this
definitely
year,
not.
I think this year he's under a little less pressure, and I would say less pressure only because he's surrounded by a star-studded cast that is going to warrant a lot of attention, and rightfully so, which will then take some of the attention away from him and the fact that they aren't able to rely on him or haven't been able to consistently since his draft.
But see,
and of course, he's a first rounder.
I
so.
agree with that to a certain extent when people say that. Because guess what? With that pressure not there, then that means you haven't lived up to the standard.
Yeah.
Because you were the first round pick.
That's why I said less pressure. Didn't say no pressure. Just said less pressure.
But that
only
means you
because
haven't lived up to the standard.
The
That's
numbers
why the pressure went away.
Of course. Well, there's a reason why we have all these other good players that have been brought into the
Right.
building because we picked high and it didn't necessarily work out.
Well, they signed
Anyway.
free agents
Yeah.
for big money at your spot. If he doesn't take that freaking crap personal, then he ain't the guy. Bye. That's how I look at it. When they draft a guy and sign a guy at your position, B-Hop knows this. They gunning for your job, and your job is pretty much done. They draft a safety at first round, second round, your job is done. Go look at the history of the NFL. If it ain't that year, it's the next year. Jarrell Casey, Simmons, see that?
Yeah.
So
I'm
it
gonna
tells
quote
you.
I'm going to quote the great American poets, Beastie Boys. You got to fight for your right to party. Anyway, Buck, you've been fabulous, bro. Thanks for joining us.
Is it already over?
It is already
That was
over.
so
It's time for us
fast.
to take a break. I mean, unless you want to hang around. I mean, what do
No,
you
I
think, B?
have Cosell here in about 15 minutes. I got to run
Yeah,
home.
it's got big
We
dog.
just wanted to see you with your helmet on.
That's all it is. Yeah, we
because
wanted
we
to
didn't
see
get to
you
Where'd
with
the helmet go?
I don't know.
Jack took it back.
Apparently, I have to wear the
Jackson's
helmet.
kicked it into the hallway.
I saw him spraying some antiseptic in it or something. I don't know what
Yeah, he
that's
said,
like.
I hope
he
so.
was worried about the chemicals you put in your hair.
You know what he should be? Highly flammable.
You can catch Buck 10 to 1 every single day during the week right here on 104.5 The Zone. That's Blaine Bishop. I'm Brad Hopkins. We are brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. We will be right back, so stick around.
There are a lot of diagnoses out there, and there's a pill for everything. But not all diagnoses are accurate, and not all pills are good for you. Hey, it's Blaine Bishop. When you get a diagnosis from European Auto Repair, you get a second opinion before you make a major decision. Eurofix is the home for second opinions. And before you spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on European vehicle repair from a diagnosis, go to Eurofix. It could not only save your vehicle's life, but could actually save you from a lot of stress that ruins your weekend. And life's too short to get you stressed out and all angry. So be happy and go to Eurofix. At Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit and not high-pressure sales tactics. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And at Eurofix, you never pay dealer pricing. Located all over the state in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine said so. Ogden.
No, man, just let it build. Let it build.
Ooh, get the
See,
ball.
you almost ruined it.
No, it's never ruined.
That's Blaine Bishop stepping over Michael Jackson. I'm Brad Hopkins. 737-1045 is how you can actually join us before we get to the top. In the next hour, we'll be catching up with David Haugh to get the Chicago perspective on the season opener for the Tennessee Titans Chicago Bears. That and many more topics. You know, I actually wanted to throw out if actually Buck was watching any of the NBA stuff. You know, when you look at like the Nuggets and the Timberwolves series, some people were already ready to pour dirt on Jokic and
The Joker.
The Joker. And here he can actually close out tonight, man. They're
We
leading the
should
series
ask him.
3-2.
I did not watch the game, but what I can say is Shaq shouldn't be calling out. He should have won MVP. What are you talking about? He was mad he won three in a row. Joker didn't deserve it.
He didn't think he did?
That's what Shaq said. He shouldn't have won it.
Wow.
Said it straight to his face, too.
Yeah, he did.
He said it to his face.
Oh,
Shut
yeah,
up, JB.
no,
did he really?
He said it nicely, though.
He said, I think SGA,
Yeah,
Shea
from
Gilgeous
Oklahoma City.
Alexander from
Oh, so
Oklahoma
he
City
said
should've
somebody
won it.
else should have won it versus I don't think you should have won it.
No, he said, I don't think you should have won it. I think it should have been SGA.
Oh, he said it.
Oh, man.
And the Joker started laughing.
But he wasn't kidding.
Oh, no, he wasn't.
Yeah,
No, he did it with, Charles and all those dudes up there. And when they do an interview after the game.
for sure, Ernie. And
Yeah, uh-huh. And Kenny.
Kenny? Did you know Kenny from our Houston Oilers days?
Of course. I
He
found out
was
when-
one of the Rockets that went, what do they call them, Clutch City back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Kenny was always pretty cool. I liked him.
yeah.
And we got Charles. I remember when Charles Barkley joined the Rockets. He actually moved behind me in new
Yeah,
territory.
we used to hang out.
Cool dude. You did not.
Absolutely. Have we had Charles Barkley
You
on?
and Charles Barkley did?
Yeah, I'm still
Seriously?
cool. Yeah.
Shut
You
your
got his
mouth.
number?
Yeah, why
I
don't
got
you
his
ever have him
number.
on?
I definitely wouldn't give it to you, but we had him on multiple times.
Man, what does that mean, valedictorian?
I don't know. I wouldn't take Charles Barkley.
You wouldn't text him?
No, not if I had his number. That'd be rude.
Nah,
He's busy.
But what if we wanted him to be on the show?
Oh,
he
I
made
text him
sure
at-
that the number, I say, call from a
Well, stop
landline.
holding out, Blaine. Get Charles on the show if y'all are down like that.
Oh, yeah, we down like that, but, sometimes
What?
you got to do what you got to do. He's been on the show. You
It'd
just
be
missed
cool.
it.
Well, it's not like you can't have him on again. When was the last time you had him on? Was it anytime recent?
No, not recent.
So it's
recent.
time to revisit the conversation. It's a different thing.
No, he said he's not
The ground
coming on
mound
no
and
more.
rebound. I used to model my game after him.
Did you?
It'd be so cool.
Oh, y'all both had badunkas.
But donkas.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Did you thought you could be the next Charles?
I did.
I think you did.
That's what I planned on being, was the next Charles Barkley.
And then AC Earl showed you that you can't be that.
No, it wasn't like he couldn't. It's just that people
That you
say,
weren't
hey,
tall
look,
enough?
there's not many 6'4", 270-pound guards.
Every time we play ball together, you
Sticking
act
the
like
bones.
you were a guard.
I know, but if I'm out there with other guys that are actually doing it as their craft, I'm going to look relatively short, and I'm not going to be in the box.
Did
You know what I'm
Blaine
saying?
ever dunk over you?
How you stop it now?
He said,
Now
hey,
you're just trying to start something.
I didn't ever say I dunked on nobody. I said
well, he didn't
was
say on
dunking.
anybody.
Oh,
Now
he said
Blaine
he
can
could
play.
dunk.
Blaine can play it, and yes,
Oh.
he can dunk.
Yeah, of course.
But
So,
all
I
I
just
mean,
wanna know
that's
if
a
he
different.
dunked
That's a
on
different
you.
conversation.
Not
Not
a
a
chance.
chance.
would
That's
have
not gonna
tried
happen.
to foul me or
That's not-
something.
That's not going to
before
happen.
He got
You
embarrassed.
think he would have caught you in the air?
Yeah, he would
Listen.
foul me there, and then he would have hurt me, and then he would have felt sorry. But he was like, "You can't dunk on me."
Listen, you saw what.
He would have hurt me.
There's only one real Ant-Man, and that's Anthony
Ooh,
Edwards.
ooh.
Yeah.
You
Not
really
you.
believe he's Michael Jordan's son?
Why would you say that? This is just a dumb thing to even try and
Hey
repeat.
man, people keep comparing
Stop
him.
it.
He does look familiar. And then Michael Jordan came out and said, "I probably have a lot of kids going all over the
He
place."
did not.
He did.
Oh my god!
I couldn't believe MJ said that.
Now they
he
play
said,
very
especially when I was with the
similarly.
Wizards.
I get well, especially when he was with the Wizards.
you doing, Mike?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, he did say that.
Anyway, I just think that's preposterous to even throw that out there. Just because the guy is super athletic and kind of models his game after MJ doesn't mean that he spawned a seed somewhere.
I know.
In Washington,
he said,
as you're
"Quit
saying
comparing me to MJ." He did.
Why would he say that? I mean, that's a compliment.
No, I think he is doing exactly what I would do.
What would you do?
I'm my own person.
Yeah, he was
Because what happens is when they start comparing you to people,
I
now,
see what you're
especially guys like that, the best ever, one of the best ever, if you want to give it that, now everybody expecting you to be just like that. No, I'm my own guy. Let my own legacy, because in theory, with his kind of talent, you think you're going to be better than MJ. That's what he is thinking. So don't put me in a box and say I'm better than him, because if I don't live up to that, then now I'm a bust. See? So it can go either direction. So you stay in your own prism and be the best version of you. That's it.
Well, Bronny was under that same situation, and he just sucks. So there's that.
Bronny? You talking about the son?
Yes.
Well, I'm not
I
going to
mean,
say
you
that.
come off a heart attack and you're
Come on, man.
Thank you,
It's gonna
Valley
take,
Victoria.
It's gonna take you
Oh, my
more than
gosh.
4 months to get back from that. He's 18 years old. He had a heart attack at 18 years old.
And watch this. If I'm LeBron James and that happened to my son, dude, I'm a billionaire. Stop this. There's no basketball for you. No more. It would have scared the crap out of me.
Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt are rehearsing games right now in the upcoming season for Fox Sports. And we'll talk about that on the other side when Blaine Bishop and myself, along with Joseph Banana, who's been spinning the wheels.
Valedictorian.
Valedictorian.
You better address him correctly.
Doesn't sound like you convincingly believe that. But either way,
I'm bringing my medal in on Monday.
Bring it in. Bring it in.
You got a medal and not a certificate?
For valedictorian, yeah, they gave me a medal.
Woo. Did you speak?
That's old school.
At your graduation?
We had several valedictorians. Because
so now it's
what are we doing
diminished.
here?
You just
Several
diminished your
valedictorians? What are we doing
but I
here?
did have a recorded speech because they couldn't.
Group valedictorian. That's kind of weird. Anyway, we'll be right back for more right here on 104.5 The Zone.
Good afternoon. I'm Joseph Bonanno. It is 1:59 from the 104.5 The Zone studios. The Titans' 2024 schedule has officially been announced, and here are some things you need to know. The Titans will open their season in Chicago to take on Caleb Williams and the Bears in Week 1. The Titans play in one primetime game in 2024. That is Week 4 against the Dolphins, and the Titans have an early bye that comes right after that Dolphins game in Week 5. In Major League Soccer news, Nashville SC announced today that the departure of head coach Gary Smith and assistant coach Steve Guppy from the club, former player and current player development coach Rumba Muntali will step up as intern head coach while the club conducts the search for their next head coach. Over in the NBA playoffs tonight, the Nuggets look to complete the comeback over the Timberwolves as Game 6 in Minnesota is tonight. Denver currently leads that season 3-2 after trailing 2-0. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
You think you can call games?
What are you talking about?
Could you
Welcome
do a
back
Tom
to
Brady?
104.5 The Zone.
Hold on, we'll get there. We'll
The
get
Blaine
there.
and Mickey Show.
We'll get there.
We got to do that first, right?
We'll get there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt, they're rehearsing games as we speak in preparation for him working for Fox Sports.
Okay.
Yes, that is Blaine Bishop. I am Brad Hopkins. We're brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. That's not an easy task.
You said preparation. If I prepared, absolutely, I think I could do it.
Yeah,
but that's
could
not
you give your
something that I
could you give your
desire
take?
to do. It's not something I desire to do because if I put my mind to something, I will accomplish it.
I know that's right.
Rest assured of that. That's always.
You sound like Stephen A. when you said it like that.
Hey, man.
Rest assured of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in what I can do.
I believe that.
Yeah, I've always.
It's just
been that
different,
way.
though, because when you're talking about Tom Brady, that's part of a celebrity roast where, like, guys are giving it to him both barrels, and he feels compelled to get up and tell the announcer, don't effing do that again, whatever else.
Yeah, I heard
Feel
he
real
didn't like that.
comfortable.
He didn't like that it was for his kids or anything
Yeah.
else.
Can you do that behind? You've got to be a little bit more calculated when you're speaking about articulating a game. You can't just and first off, you can't cuss. I mean, it's not like the Pat McAfee show. Just can't get in there, just be free of the tongue and start running it.
Why are
he
you
has to be more
comparing a
reserved.
roast to calling a game?
Because the roast was basically brought on by Netflix, of which he could be himself.
Right.
You know, when he
Which
does
is
a
not
podcast,
what
he himself.
calling a game is.
Right. Exactly.
calling
That's
a
what I'm
game.
saying. Can you be calculated enough to be informative and compelling enough without giving, like the entire Tom Brady persona? You're not going to be able to see that. He has to be more calculated calling games.
I don't think I don't get caught up in the persona. Like you look at, first of all, his aptitude, his mental aptitude. Can he call games? Then can he criticize players? Comparing it to a roast is totally different, just in my opinion, to how to actually call games because it's something that is practice rehearsed. Here's the tough part to me for him. Can he be not as calculated in his remarks? And when I say that, I'm talking about he's going to want to hold back and he ends up being in between, being critical and not. And then it sounds fake. So it doesn't sound him. He has to be genuinely who he is and be able to put that and formulate that into calling a game. I think Tom Brady has the capability to be pretty good at it. I can't question anything that he's ever done. So he's had success. So I would say, I think it's going to, I'm sure he's practiced multiple times. People who are successful like that, they go at it really hard, especially at something that they have never done.
Michael Jordan didn't do baseball very well.
And he did pretty good. He did all right. Well, I mean, he went to a whole sport. You're talking about now, that's a different sport.
It is a different sport. Him being behind the booth is a different sport, completely different sport.
Yeah, but he's been in front of the cameras. He's had a lot of practice.
Been in front of the cameras as a former player.
Formulating one sport to the next. It's almost like he was already practicing dealing with the media at the same time. Now you have to put yourself behind a booth and then call games. So first and foremost, he has the knowledge. He doesn't have to have the athleticism to do another sport. He has the knowledge. So once you have the knowledge, now can you encapsulate that and then formulate it out to the public in a big forum.
There are a lot of knowledgeable athletes that don't make it in the media.
Right. No, I'm not saying, there's no question. But I don't put anything past Tom Brady. This is not Emmitt Smith. This is not certain people, Jerry Rice. This is not those guys. They tried it and they couldn't. This guy is a little bit different. I would say the quarterback has an advantage because he understands, first off, the offense that he's trying to run, and more specifically, what he's trying to do against the defense. So he understands both sides of the football extremely well. I would say you're the one who doubted him, not me.
What do you mean?
You were doubting Tom Brady.
No, I'm not doubting. I'm asking the question, but can he reinvent himself like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? Peyton Manning is
Troy
extremely
Aikman,
compelling.
Tony Romo.
Exactly.
We can go down the list.
Right. There's a lot of guys that have done it, but then again, there are a lot of guys that have tried it and didn't do it. You just labeled off a few of them. Right. So I'm wondering which one of those Tom Brady would actually be. Not necessarily being the Tom Brady that is doing a podcast and can speak his mind freely.
I think he will be. What are your thoughts?
I think Tom's going to have a hard time kind of dialing it back a little bit and just instead of it's not like he's going to be all Rob Gronkowski, spiking a shot glass or just being kind of over the top a little bit. But I think that him trying to be as compelling as he would want to without being able to use the dialogue that he would use like when he was used to doing media, I think it's going to be difficult. I think, and also maybe even keeping up with the pace of the game. And like you said, I don't think you'll have a problem criticizing players because all you're doing is acknowledging what went right and what went wrong.
Right.
And you have enough, you've got enough, background to be able to have those kind of discussions. Your greatness would not allow someone to push back against you if you're Tom Brady. I dig that. But just still then even being able to articulate what we're seeing unfold in front of us like good commentators do, it's just not easy.
I wonder which...
Oh, no, it's not easy. But I think he'll be able to do it. I don't know. What you think he's going to be cussing up there?
No. It'd be great if he could. That's because...
Yeah, what you got, Banana?
I wonder which personality of Tom Brady
that's what I'm saying.
Come out. Like, will it be like the on-the-field Tom Brady where it's like...
he is not going to be that guy.
Not in terms of like the language he uses, but like how he presents himself, kind of like trying to dominate the broadcast, or is it going to be more? Right,
I see what you're saying. Well, he's going to be more reserved, in control of his words, of his actions, versus him.
That's what I was talking about.
He's reacting to something like, oh my gosh,
that's what I was saying. Yeah. I said, can he formulate in the happy medium?
Right,
that's going to be his only task. Everything else he's got. So. We'll see. I mean, it's up to debate, but guess what? They're committed to him. He's making what, $40 million?
That's right.
Somebody made a boo-boo if it don't work because he's still getting that money.
Didn't he get what, like a 10-year deal, like off the bat or something like that? Wasn't it like something
crazy?
Is
it 10-year, $450 million or something like that?
10-year, $250 million.
Or something crazy like that?
It was bigger than that.
I'm going to look it up.
Guaranteed. Are you kidding me? 10 years guaranteed? You haven't spoken a word.
Yeah, that's like being a quarterback.
How about the reveal for some of the... What?
It's like being a quarterback.
I know, that's right. How about the reveal for some of these teams? Like the Browns. The Browns had Deshaun Watson going to a bowling alley, dude. And they actually had him bowling over the pins that represented each one of the teams that they were playing this year. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I think I don't know who the guy was that was with Tyreek Hill when the Miami Dolphins gave their reveal, but they went through the schedule like super fast, Do you get it now?
The fastest team in the NFL. Yeah.
They just ran through the schedule.
It was like 7 seconds long. Everybody else's is like 5. Like, did you see the Bears? The Bears did a really good one. They had Jake Johnson, who plays on New Girl. He's
what
an
is
actor.
New Girl?
It's a TV show. It's a really popular TV show.
With the youth?
I would say so. I guess.
You ever heard of it, Blaine?
I've definitely heard of it, but I have no idea what it's about.
But anyways, they had like them like pretending like they were in school and they were introducing each team as like a different type of student in school.
Oh.
So it was actually really well put together. I thought it was probably one of the better ones.
Huh.
Didn't the Titans just put changes from 3 to 4?
What do you mean?
When they did the Broadway deal, didn't they just reduplicate that?
Yeah, they did the same layout. And the funny thing about the Titans one was like the Jaguars took the biggest strays in that one because both Jaguars games, the person they asked were like, I have no idea what logo that is.
Oh, when they run around the street and ask. Oh,
They just put a 4 instead of a 3 for the scheduling.
that's funny.
I thought it was good, man.
Yeah, that's good enough.
It worked last year, so why not?
Did it work last year?
Yeah, I think so.
They won an Emmy
they
last.
did.
They
They
won
got
an
a
Emmy.
lot
of
They won
traction.
an
Emmy.
Emmy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, I think it worked.
Isn't it amazing? And there's so many of the things that are going on right now. The NHL has a series going on. Obviously, we touched on a little bit of the NBA series that are going on. But then the schedule reveal comes out last night, and you could see a lot of the audience tuning in to something that really doesn't determine anything. Not like these series that we're watching. I think it's pretty telling. About
The NFL knows how to. They know how to market.
Yeah.
Man, they got millions of people tuning in to see what time their team will be playing in November.
Right, and the discussions that come there after that, because I watched the whole thing on the NFL Network and, listening to Mike North, the NFL Vice President of broadcast planning, him talking about the first truly global game that Netflix is going to put on. And that is true, Blaine. You can't say Netflix without saying NFL. Remember we talked about it yesterday?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure out. It's just because it has those letters in there.
Yeah, it does.
They're not in a row.
Still, I know they're not. It's not like I get it. There's the E and a T between them, but still, it's kind of funny.
Can't spell it without NFL.
There you go. You can't spell it. Well, it's basically you can't say Netflix without NFL. It's in there somehow. But either way, I thought that was pretty cool, and how they're going to make it available for almost a global audience to be able to consume it.
For what cost?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's for increased salaries. Does that trickle down to the pension? I'm just curious.
I have no idea.
Come on, man. We got to know how it's going to affect us.
I don't know.
Hey, he said that all the teams are sharing the workload of expanding the brand. You believe that? Like now, the conversation may be not that sooner, not that later on, about taking away one more of these preseason games. Instead of having 3 preseason games, and we know the Titans. Actually, who they got? San Francisco, they've got Seattle, and they finished the preseason on the road at New Orleans. Mm-hmm. Like sooner or later, that third preseason game will be flipped on to be a regular season game. There we have an expanded schedule and expanded market. Mm-hmm. So he said, the vice president of broadcast planning, that all of the teams are sharing in that workload of being able to be flexible. You know what I mean? Like
they learned all that during COVID.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. No, I've said it before. I think I said they were going to go to 18. I said they're going to go to 20 eventually. That's where we can get to, and there are going to be no preseason games. I think they're going to be all scrimmages. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, like teams getting together and scrimmage one another, and you get because that's when you get a lot of work anyway, because you're trying to determine a roster, and an uncommon opponent really kind of reflects exactly what you want to see. That's good. That's
just
good.
Think about the
no
TV.
Preseason games.
Yeah, yeah, no preseason game. Guess what? The package of a regular season will be then for networks with 20 games.
Look at you.
Because the goal of Roger Goodell when he became commissioner is to make the NFL a $25 billion a year business.
It wasn't to conquer the planet?
Well, that's part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Through football.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, we'll see.
As
David.
we see, we're playing on every day of the week.
I know that's
Fridays, man.
We just got to watch the game. We just got to watching the game that Blaine and I were playing in. They were replaying the 2000 November 12, 2000 matchup that we had against the Ravens during the regular season. Literally while we're sitting here. It's amazing.
Yeah, it got my heart boiled.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing how you went back almost 20. You flipped like a mug. It's actually kind of scary.
I can't stand the Ravens.
Your multiple personalities
they were
coming
bullies,
out.
and they talk smack, and they weren't professional, and they still beat us.
Yeah, that's the worst part, losing to a bully.
Like we bullied them, but we made mistakes.
You think David Haugh ever got bullied? He's a former
I don't know.
player.
He was pretty good. He was an academic All-American, so I think he would outsmart them. See?
Knowing how to avoid the punches or at least diffuse the situation. What a smart guy. I dig it. Well, guess what? He's going to join us next. He's in the Chicago market to kind of help us break down this matchup. Week 1, Titans on the road against the Chicago Bears. That is Blaine Bishop. I am Brad Hopkins, and we are brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Do not go anywhere.
Ying. Tennessee, are you ready to embrace spring with confidence? So check out Cool Ray today and let's make this season a breeze. You get $1,500 off select whole home generators and to ensure your family's comfort and safety. We'll also pay you to upgrade. So get $1,000 when you upgrade your HVAC system with Cool Ray. Or you can try our $49 tune-up to refresh for your system and beat allergy season with 10% off indoor air quality products. So let the experts at Cool Ray clear your drain for $93 and you won't be charged. And in honor of National Military Appreciation Month, Cool Ray will be offering an additional 5% discount for all active military members and veterans, making it a total of 10% off during the entire month of May. So we're your partner in comfort, no matter the season. So here's to a spring filled with sunshine, smiles, and stress-free living. Cool Ray, keeping Tennessee cool, plumbing right, and lights bright.
So we got to do a live show at DBAT in Murfreesboro, and it was amazing. So it's a baseball and softball training facility. They got just all these pitching machines and batting cages, and it's clean and beautiful and heated and cooled, and it's all those things. You can get a membership, so that way you can go use the cages every day if you want. They do clinics and coaching. Baseball and softball both on the rise here, and DBAT is your spot to just go and get your practice and get your swings and get coached up. You can go to dbatmurfreesboro.com and you can get more information. Here's the thing, too, about this place. I got a 9-year-old son. Two things you're always looking for. Where's the birthday party? What are you going to do this summer? Where are the camps? They got you covered on both of those, too. They got birthday parties. They got rooms to do that and beautiful space to go and let the kids go and play. They got 5 weeks of summer camps. They got clinics. They got it all at DBAT in Murfreesboro. And like I said, you'll love it when you go there. Just an amazing facility. Like they say, you're ready to play some ball, ready to have that party, ready to do summer camp. DBAT, get your game on.
Caleb Williams is on the
Clock.
According to Titans fans, the Titans will travel up north to do battle with the Chicago Bears to start the 2024 campaign. The Brian Callahan era begins in Soldier Field, and we bring in David Haugh. He covers the Chicago Bears up there for is it CBS Sports Blaine?
No, 670 The Score in Chicago.
670 The Score in Chicago, giving us the boots on the ground perspective. David, welcome in. You're on with Blaine Bishop and Brad Hopkins. How you doing today, buddy?
Hey, Blaine. Hey, Brad. How you doing? Yes, Caleb Williams is definitely, I think, the it guy in town, and he's getting a lot of attention around the league. And obviously, with the schedule release, I can see why he'd be the object of some of your attention today. So it's been a fun offseason for the Bears. Obviously, they needed to go. They needed to go in this direction because they've been irrelevant for too long.
Were the Chicago Bears one of the teams that held rookie minicamp recently?
Yeah, over the weekend.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did.
So how did Mr. Williams look to you in shorts?
Well, okay, so
His thighs look really good, huh?
Oh, well.
yeah, sculpted. He's a sculpted specimen. It's not so much guys what he's doing. It's not so much that he's looks the part and he's throwing the ball and the arm talent is obvious. I mean, these guys have these skills and it's really something to watch. But it's not what he's doing, but it's who's doing it in a Bears uniform. You got to understand the whole quarterback quandary. This is a Bears tradition unlike any other. So when somebody comes to the organization, the caliber of Caleb Williams, he's the boss the moment he walks through the doors at Hallis Hall. So everything about their organization since they decided he was the guy has been with that in mind, whether it's reshaping the public relations department, whether it's planning the stadium project. He's always going to be in the back of their minds or maybe at the forefront because he is the guy around which everything revolves.
So Shane Waldron, he's been in the building with Tom Brady. He worked with Jared Goff, of course. Geno Smith looked better under Shane Waldron's instruction. So are we not giving enough attention or paying enough attention to that connection that he could actually make Caleb Williams even better with his proven track record?
I think that he's getting all the attention he deserves in Chicago. I think that's one of the toughest jobs in town historically. It's as difficult to find a good offensive coordinator in Chicago as it has been to find a quarterback. So Shane Waldron benefits from the fact that he's new, but I don't think that I think, yes, can he help Caleb Williams progress as a rookie? Can he facilitate some of the things that he needs to facilitate? Absolutely. But I think the hope in Chicago is, as absurd as it might sound, but there are some quarterbacks that, it's how does the quarterback make the coach look good rather than the other way around? Some guys need that kind of schematic design and brain power. I'm not sure that Caleb Williams, given all the hype, if he's as good as people say, is going to need that. So Shane Waldron is a welcome addition because, but he's got one objective: don't screw it up.
I know that's right. He is from 670 The Score. David Haugh joining us here on the show.
Well, David, I'm interested in, I'm going to go back now and kind of give us the pros and cons of Justin Fields and then why they went in that direction with Caleb Williams.
Blaine, I tell you, in a quarterback what special looks like, and certainly Justin Fields was special. But he was special in a way that he made every play a potential explosive play, and he was one of these rare guys who had the ability to break it on any given snap if protection broke down or maybe a design run. The problem was that he wasn't consistent enough as a thrower. He wasn't the guy who was obviously in time on time. He struggled with accuracy, and I just don't know if you ever become accurate at the NFL level. And it was more of it was less natural of a motion, and things just didn't fall into place. And so the Bears left a lot of yards on the field, and people liked Justin Fields because he provided the most memorable highlights any Bears fan had seen since Devin Hester, and Hester's in the Hall of Fame. So those were the kinds of things that people latched onto because they were exhilarating, but they were too few and far between. And so as a passer, Justin Fields was an extraordinary runner. And as a quarterback, he was the Bears' best running back. And I do think he can start at the quarterback position in the NFL, but I just think it's going to have to be with the understanding that you're going to have to shape things around him and realize there are limitations with him throwing the football. And a lot of those revolve around the fact that he didn't process things as quickly as necessary, and he did not ever really reach that accuracy that everybody wanted him to do.
Well, with David Haugh, co-host of the Mully and Haugh Show on 670 The Score in Chicago, talking everything about the Bears. I guess I wanted to get into this. Kind of take us through the prism of what it's like to be the quarterback and how critical it is in Chicago with the past history of Trubisky, now Fields, and now what Caleb Williams actually is going to go through being critical and critiqued every single throw in a game.
Yeah, everything seems a little bit more exaggerated here. It really does, and I think I'm part of the problem, I suppose, talking every morning about the Bears. The Bears, as you know, it's a story here every day of the year. When they're good, it's a big story. When they're bad, it's better in terms of interest because everybody's got a solution to the problem. Problem is, it's always been about the quarterback. So Trubisky didn't have probably what it took in terms of command and wasn't consistent enough. Justin Fields had some strengths, but they weren't consistent enough as in the passing game. And it's historically, we could be here all afternoon talking about the failed experiments, but everything is a little bit louder when you're talking about the NFL's third largest market. So here comes Caleb Williams. In my mind, I'm a Caleb Williams guy. I was the guy that was, in favor, one of the guys that was in favor of him from the get-go. It's just time to move on. But Blaine, he comes into this situation almost ideally suited for it. This is your first NIL era quarterback. He was a celebrity at USC. He hung around. He really is Hollywood, and so he lived there. He thrives under that kind of environment, and he has handled himself like a pro already, being here for 5 minutes. So there's a sense that the talent is there. There's a sense that the charisma is there. Now he's just got to back it up. And he is also a guy that looks like he will work hard enough to endear himself to the fan base. And so far, he's not stepped out of line.
One more last question real quick is, who do you compare or project that Caleb Williams could actually be that was a former quarterback or a current quarterback?
That's a good question. I think that we hear the outlandish kind of unfair comparisons. Travis Kelce was the latest. He reminds him of Patrick Mahomes, and we hear that a lot because of the off-platform throws. But I think that's a bit unfair. The one comp that I think is interesting is that Caleb Williams is considered the top quarterback prospect, most talented to come into the league since Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was a real precise. You know Andrew Luck.
Yes.
I don't need to describe him to you guys in that conference, and you just saw enough of him to make him want to go away. So, but that's the kind of quarterback you wonder if the Bears are getting: somebody who is smart, somebody who is accurate, somebody who is tough and can put the ball where he wants, and is a leader. And I think you have the natural leadership qualities. And Caleb Williams, to me, that would be a comp that I think you hear a little bit, and I think a lot of Bears fans would certainly take that.
One with David Haugh of 670 The Score in Chicago.
Does a new quarterback and just basically a new culture and situation kind of give Matt Eberflus and even Ryan Poles sort of a stay of execution? I'm not saying that they're on a hot seat by any sorts, but given the changes at pivotal positions, some of the decision-making that has gone on recently, how much pressure is there for this to be a really good season for Matt and company?
It's an understandable question, especially in a city that just fired Mike Vrabel, and people thought he would be a great fit in Chicago, but they held on to Matt Eberflus. So here there are two different, I think, time clocks. One is on the coach and one is on the GM. Ryan Poles put together a roster that I think a lot of people feel is playoff caliber. They have they've answered some depth, they've upgraded the talent, and their offense is dangerous. Matt Eberflus, they believe in him, and I understand he's kind of a defensive-minded culture guy, and he's one of these guys that maybe grows on you over time. But we were talking this morning on the Mully and Haugh Show. I do believe with this schedule, the third easiest in the league, with this schedule, which starts with Bears Titans in week 1, I think if Matt Eberflus loses 10 or more games, he's going to be in trouble. I don't think they're going to lose 10 or more games. I think they're going to win 9. I think they're going to win more than they lose, and I think their first victory is going to come against you guys.
All right, tell us a little bit about the division, David, as you sit here and look at where the Bears are, particularly. Jared Goff seems to have really cemented himself in Detroit. The Lions may be the team to beat in the NFC North. Where are you seeing the Chicago Bears within the North?
Lions have to give them respect, and they've locked up everybody long term in this offseason, quarterback, tackle, and the wide receiver. That's how you do it in the NFL, along with the coach and GM. They're the class of the division. Goff has got the big money, although I do think that it's a different question if you ask people objectively, rank the 4 quarterbacks you'd like to have in the NFC North for the next 4 years. I don't think Jared Goff's at the top of that list, even though he is the highest paid. They're number 1. The Packers, I still think, are number 2. The Bears can't beat the Packers. They've never beaten Matt LaFleur. Until they do it, I'm not going to believe they can. So I think the Packers are probably still second. The Bears can win more than they lose, but I think this division's vastly improved. It could be one of the best in football. I think they come in at 9 wins, and they're third. And then there's the Vikings, which are doing their own little retooling, saying goodbye to Daniil Hunter, saying goodbye to Kirk Cousins, and replacing them with a couple rookies. J.J. McCarthy's got his work cut out for him. He's going to be good eventually, but I think they bring up the rear in a very good division.
He is David Haugh from 670 The Fan.
Yes, David. I guess what were your thoughts on the draft class? Did they draft a kicker or a punter? No.
They drafted Tory Taylor. Yes, Tory Taylor, the punter from down under. He's from Iowa.
Shut up. University of Iowa?
Yes.
Okay.
Big Ten punter. He went to Iowa. He came here from Australia. I think he's about 45 years old. I don't know. He's older. But he's a 4th rounder, and, he's a guy that if you believe in defensive football the way the Bears do, he's a weapon. He can win some of the hidden yardage battles. They got Roma Dunze at number 9, the wide receiver, to pair with Caleb Williams. I think that was a smart pick. And they got Austin Booker in the 5th round to rush the passer, and an offensive lineman from Yale to lead the debate team. So I think that when you look at their draft collection, they're pretty high on it, especially when you get the number 1 overall player in the draft. It's all about Caleb Williams moving forward.
So if you gave him a grade, what would it be?
I'd give him an A. Their whole offseason, Blaine, has been they really have handled this offseason well.
Wow.
From using their draft capital to acquire Keenan Allen from the Chargers. They went back to the midseason. They used a draft pick, a 2nd rounder, to get Montez Sweat. Ryan Bates from the Bills, an offensive lineman to provide depth, maybe play center. They really maximize their draft capital, and that's how you win in the NFL.
I know this question is going to sound weird, but I know you wore number 4 in college, was the best free safety in Ball State history. But is there something behind Caleb Williams, number 18? Is there?
Yes, there is. And thank you for the memory. You're old enough to remember that, Blaine. I remember those days. Yes. Caleb Williams wanted to wear it at USC, wore 13. Out of deference to Keenan Allen, he's not going to wear that with the Chicago Bears. But at his high school out in Washington, D.C., they retired number 18 because obviously he was the best quarterback that school probably has ever seen. So he got number 18 when he came to the Bears. It was worn last year by Robert Tonyan, the tight end who now is making his tour through the NFC North, signed with the Vikings today.
Oh, okay. So I was wondering because players, especially the number 1 pick, I didn't have any choice. They gave me a number that was close to my number.
What would you do if you ever traded to the Bears, Blaine? You would not have been able to wear your number because it's sacred ground here. Hester, Jordan, Sandberg, 23. Come on.
No, but that was my pro number. But what was my college number there, David?
Okay,
22.
right?
22.
Okay.
22?
That's 22. That's
yeah,
right.
So I was 22.
Right.
Hey, one last. Yeah, that was fun times, right? But one last question. When you saw that the Bears were favored by 4.5, what's the first thing to come to your mind?
That there's a lot of people that want to bet on the Bears to have a good season and win. There's a lot of faith in the Bears offseason, and there's a lot of doubt about the Titans and a first-year head coach. And I think that there's a lot of questions surrounding Will Levis. What is he as a quarterback? So coming into Soldier Field, game 1 against that defense, that tells me that there's a lot of reason to believe in the Bears defense even before Caleb Williams might come into his own.
Oh, one more Caleb Williams, though. It just hit me, this one right here. You said something earlier, I think in your answer to B-Hop, and that is, do you think Caleb Williams loves being a celebrity or does he love being a football player?
That's a great question because you probably have known players that have probably favored the celebrity status over wanting to really
OBJ
do the work. I thought coming in before the pre-draft process, Caleb Williams was maybe that kind of guy. in hearing him handle himself and watching him move around Hallis Hall and just talking to people who have been around him, I've changed my mind and I've come around. This is a guy that wants to create a championship culture, and I think he knows how to do it. He's got the championship mindset, and so he's not afraid to work. He knows how to have fun, and he certainly is a celebrity, but I won't hold that against him because I do think he's also a grinder.
Dang, you just are making me nervous now. We're on with David Haugh. Crap.
Hey, what do you think, David, the national narrative is about Brian Callahan in his first year as the head coach?
I think there's curiosity about whether he's going to be one of these guys that goes from calling plays and designing offenses and game plans to can he be the leader of men? Can he be can he be the guy on Sunday that gets his team organized and ready to play emotionally week in and week out? Can he do what Mike Vrabel did, frankly, a lot? From the outside, it appeared that Mike Vrabel was one of those guys that really did that well consistently. I think there are probably questions about Callahan and his ability to make that transition that isn't always as easy as it seems. There are guys that do it, and then there's guys like Matt Nagy who do it for a year in Chicago and then forget what it takes and don't really have what it takes to be a head coach. So it's different when you're calling plays and leading a team. And I think just the leadership aspect, the game day decision-making process, the things we've seen Matt Eberflus struggle with at times in the first two seasons in Chicago, you wonder if he has the capacity to excel at those things.
All right, David Haugh, we're going to get you out of here on this. I want you to give us right now what you think the score will be between the Titans and the Bears. And then when we have you on later on in the year, when it gets closer to the game, we'll ask you how much that has changed, if at all, the next time we talk. How's that sound?
It's an excellent thought exercise. This morning I referred to the Titans game as a big pile of meh or something like to that effect. Because
like that?
Yeah, meh. Like noon on a Sunday. They didn't even respect this game enough to put it prime time, goodness sakes. But I think the Bears' offense is going to be much different than we're used to seeing in Chicago. And I think the Bears are going to move the ball, score some touchdowns, and it's going to be Bears 33, Titans 24.
33-24. You got that, JB? Write that down.
I wrote it down.
You wrote it down? 33-24.
33-24. Bears over Titans. I think that there's going to be
a weird score.
Challenge of week one is going to be Monday morning, going to work and trying to contain the enthusiasm that was created by a rout of the Titans.
So Caleb Williams is not having any issues with being under center, right? I haven't heard any talk. He was in shotgun a lot, right?
He was in shotgun a lot. That's a great question. That's a great question. That came up over the weekend.
Huddles.
And he hasn't been under center much at college, but he has been previously. And the answer from Shane Waldron was, hey, he's a quarterback. He grew up playing quarterback. Quarterbacks can adjust and adapt, and it's not that big of a deal. Because why? Because he can process things quickly, and when he drops back, he can see things as they develop. And that's not his superpower, but he certainly is special at doing that as much as he is at putting the ball where it needs to be.
We shall see. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. We're going to see how he reacts when he can smell Jeffrey Simmons' breath and Tavondre.
You're right. Hey, that's always the test, guys. That's a lot of fun.
David, man. You've been fantastic. Thanks for joining us. We're going to write down that score,
guys.
and we'll catch up to you soon. Take care.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
David Haugh from 670
The Score.
The Score, up there in Chicago. Former teammate of Blaine Bishop's. Were you upset that he didn't remember your number? You remember his?
I was a freshman.
Oh, that's right. You were just a fresh.
No, I was a red shirt guy. I wasn't, Did you get red shirt?
My sophomore year.
Oh, that's when you were playing tight end?
I got my scholarship as a tight end, and remember Long John Silver's made me a tackle. Anyway.
Long John Silver's.
737-1045 is how you can access us. We've got one more segment to go right now. He's Blaine Bishop. I'm Brad Hopkins. We are brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. We'll be right back.
So many people trust Two Rivers Ford. Football players, working moms, business owners. Why? Because Two Rivers Ford has been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Be caller number 5 now to win tickets to see Bill Burr. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Burr tomorrow night, at Bridgestone Arena. That's caller number 5 at 737-1045. And you can win tickets to see Bill Burr tomorrow night at Bridgestone Arena. That's Blaine Bishop. I'm Brad Hopkins. Final segment here. We are brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Tomorrow, we're going to catch up with Knox Sentinels' Mike Wilson, give us the ball report. I think there will be one game under their belt in that series between the Gamecocks, Tony V's company.
That happens.
It happens.
First game tonight.
First game is tonight. They'll be heading into the second game, obviously, tomorrow. We can preview that. And Ron Savage will be joining us in the 2 o'clock hour. What is he?
The Sleigh Ride.
The Sleigh Ride will be joining us in the second hour tomorrow. So that's what's coming up tomorrow. And, I thought that was a pretty interesting conversation that we had with David Haugh, just about his thoughts, the national narrative about Brian Callahan. And some people in the chat are even saying that people are still thinking that this is a Mike Vrabel-style team.
Mm-hmm.
And from what we've seen so far, I think that there'll be more explosive plays. I think that what happens is when you have a guy like a Derrick Henry, that does become your offense's identity, and you build around that.
Right, but he's not here anymore.
Exactly. which then lends to all kinds of things that this offense could take into shape as far as
you have
how they
no
run the football.
idea.
Exactly.
What film they watching?
Yeah, there is none.
The Bengals?
Of course.
That's
Joe
where I would go as a
Joe
player.
Brady, Joe Burrow.
But it's different players.
Exactly.
Except for Tyler Boyd.
I mean, you can discover tendencies by looking at a guy's previous coaching history, but when you're looking at different players that you're coaching, I mean, at some point in time, you would think that those players and that team would take on the coach's identity.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And by the way, I don't know if he was actually calling plays there with the Bengals. I think the head coach was. So you could look at them, but you could also say he may be different. So the element of surprise in that first game for the Titans on what they are running, not only offensively, but defensively, it's going to be interesting to see how they go about that.
Yeah. I think it will be more difficult, obviously for them to run on, almost 700 pounds of man between the guards, between Devondre Sweat.
We hope so. But they do have two good backs, so, good offensive linemen.
Khalil Herbert and DeAndre Swift have been, both of them, Khalil Herbert only rushed for 600. I say only because he split the backfield. But DeAndre Sweat was a 1,000-yard back last year. And they got, a plethora of receivers that have caught for over 1,000 yards. Mm-hmm. And that's including Rome Odunze, who did it in college, 1,600 yards, and played in the Natty last year. So there are some things to contend with. I dig it. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying that the unknown, like you just mentioned, them not knowing what specific style, even though you can kind of take a guess by personnel what he's going to run, it'll be interesting to see how he manages this. I
hated the first games.
What do you mean? What do you mean you hate the first games?
Not only with all this we're talking about when I was a player, but I hated because there were always things that teams would have that they, even if you knew what they were going to run, they still came up with curveballs. And that's why the first week of the season, you can't really judge how good a team really is until they get to week 3 because of all the matchups and curveballs and changes of coaches, styles, offenses and defenses that maybe catch you by surprise to some extent in every game. It's really unique to me, and it was that way throughout the entire time I played. It made me also feel uncomfortable, to be honest, when I played, because I like to be sure. We all know what you're going to run.
Absolutely.
You maybe put a handful of, new plays, whether it's pass plays or run plays, but you stick to what you know and your players know. So then going into a game not knowing exactly what to expect is always going to be good for the Titans. Yeah. At least in this game.
Yeah. Got to have a foundation. I think through that 3-game period that you're mentioning right there are some tendencies, some things that you do well that you kind of stick to until proven otherwise, right? Definitely. If I could run the ball between this guard and tackle and for 3 games no one stopped me, well, guess what I'm going to do week 4? Exactly. Yeah. Until you figure it out. Yeah. But that's what's going to be interesting to watch, this new regime, this new era of Titans football, where more explosive plays will be part of the offense. Maybe
slinging it around.
Moving on from the whole Edward George, Derrick Henry, Chris Johnson, running the football. I was like, no, we got some dudes on the edges that can catch. We got a guy that, he rolls his sleeves up on his jersey so you can see the pipes as he takes the ball back under center. Yeah, Will Levis looks good, man. So there seems to be a lot of potential.
I think he leaned out.
Real quick before we end the show, just real quick, where do you think the Titans offense will rank by the end of 2024? In the top half of the league or the bottom half of the league?
I think with the receivers that they have, it'd be hard to finish in the bottom half.
So you think they're going to be a top half?
Yeah, just given the fact that DeAndre Hopkins had a very, very good season last year. Most people thought he wouldn't. Calvin Ridley can't wait to show you what he can actually do. And the same thing can be said about Tyler Boyd.
Now, Now, where in that top half? Are you like?
I would say better than last year.
I would hope so.
I take the high road.
Yeah. Well, so what are you saying? Like more than obviously 16?
Like a top 10 or kind of in that middle range?
Got to average at least 24 points a game. Sorry. Got to have it.
But this offense is built to do it.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do today?
But in the meantime...
Has it fired up?
Mm-hmm.
And hold on a second. And it's in between time. Peace.